Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast. I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Martin Glenday of Moxie Media. Martin, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Oh, thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah, super excited to have you on, Martin. And what I wanted to do before we jumped in is to read a little bit more about him so you can hear about all the awesome things that he's doing. And Martin is the founder and president of Moxie Media, a full service media design and production company. He received his Bachelor's of Arts in Mass Communication from the University of Vermont in 1982 and earned a Master's in Science in Film Production and Business from Boston University in 1984. When he was just 25 years old, he founded Moxie Media to provide employee training materials for the oil and gas industry. In the 35 years since then, Moxie Media has expanded to include around 20 employees and over 500 training courses, serving more than 50,000 learners across different industries. Martin, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
Oh yeah, sure. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Super excited to have you on. So, I guess before we jumped in, or when we jumped in, I wanted to jump in, I guess we're winding the clock back. So I wanted to hear a little bit more about what I call your CEO story. We'll let you get started with your business.
Sure. Again, as you reiterated, I started the company, now it's almost 35 years ago. And back then it was more, I had graduated and I was going to be the next Steven Spielberg, but we all have to make a living. We can't all be there. So I had an opportunity to work for my uncle's. He had a heavy equipment company in New Orleans, and I didn't really want to be doing construction or whatever, but he sort of supported me, and I did his marketing for a year. And then I said, hey, why don't we start, a video production company, because I saw a number of his big customers, which were some of the big major oil companies, required training on. He had big cranes and excavators and all that, and they all needed training on those. So we started making training videos for those particular clients, and then basically grew. We also, because we were in the New Orleans, the Gulf Coast region, there is a great number of maritime assets. So we started doing training for the inland waterways, the offshore supply vessels, and then continuing into both the offshore oil and gas and the land, oil and gas in Texas, out west. And over time, one of the biggest things that I've learned is that, especially in this industry, is that you've got to move along with the technology. Just because we started doing VHS tapes and moved to DVDs, and then CD-ROMs, and now we're into mainly all of our programs are delivered via the web, with e-learning being the mainstay. And then we've created our own software to create what we call a learning management system for companies. So companies subscribe as basically a software as a service to our platform, and we are kind of sort of de facto consultants. So we look at the company, we get the list of their employees, we talk with their safety, training, HR, loss control people, and decide what is the type of training that each one of their employees needs. And then we set those employees up with courses, e-learning courses, and then the employee can log in and basically he sees a roadmap of what he or she needs to take to move along, to meet compliance regulations for the company, as well as move their career path along with the company. So we keep expanding, and we have, so along with our learning management system, when the company subscribes, they also get access to our close to 1,000 courses now on every type of topic, from human resources to health and safety, wellness. And then we have all your basic OSHA safety type courses, and then in those industries that are required for compliance, a lot of the oil and gas, maritime have licensing requirements that the government has to do, requires Coast Guard, and then you have API, American Petroleum Institute. So we create training programs that meet those requirements, and the employees go through them, and then they have what's real important is the record keeping for the administrators. They can go in and check to see who's in compliance, who's not in compliance. The employees can look at their records, and it makes it real simple because we basically, the platform sends out emails with reports, whether it be on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And we keep growing into other industries. One of the areas we're looking at now is the hospitality industry, just because not so much that it's regulated, but there's lots of turnover in that industry. A lot of people, the hospitality industry is like their first job. Mm-hmm. So we felt that it was a good one to be able to give them good instruction on how to be, whether they're working in the front of the house or the back of the house or even in management controls. So we're always looking to basically take leverage what we've already got and put it into new verticals, whether that be, we're also in the construction industry and other highly regulated industries as well. Yeah. So that's our story, and we keep moving along.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, especially, with the different opportunities, as you said, kind of in your industry, but really in every industry, technology has definitely evolved and changed. It continues to do that. And it's so important to be able to change with the times, evolve with the times, be ahead of the puck, so to speak. But I think too, what you talked about, like especially related to like the hospitality industry, I think if you do or are in an industry that has so much turnover, you want to be able to have that kind of that those learning skills and that information there, so that people can continue to learn if there are people that are coming and going. So it's awesome that you obviously have created that and help so many organizations out with that. So I was going to ask you for what I call your secret sauce. And this can be for you personally or your business, but what do you feel kind of sets you guys apart and makes you unique?
Our secret sauce is, it's a pretty simple one, is good customer service. And I'm sure many people hate calling a company where you get a dial by number of services and are on infinite hold and you do it. I just really don't understand how the industry of this world survives using that methodology. It's just so unfriendly, and I'm sure most people agree. So one of the stipulations that we have at our company is that the phone gets answered by a live person. If for some reason everybody's tied up, I have a mandate that the phone, after like 4 rings at every single person's phone in the company. And if that phone if they're hearing that, they're obligated to pick up the phone. I don't expect them to solve everybody's problem, but at least they can take a message, let the person know that we're there for them and that somebody will get back to answer their question. It just drives me crazy to have to sit there on hold. And so that's a little bit of our secret sauce, but the other part is just we are very much, just because of the nature of the role that we play, we are sort of a de facto consultant. People rely on us for our good customer service. With our learning management platform, not only do we provide customer service and tech support to the administrators of the company, actually to every single employee that is using that tool, and that's close to 50,000 employees. So we have a full tech response department who answers and mans the phone. So if somebody calls in, and those guys and gals are great at their job because many times it's human error. People don't have the speaker on, or they don't know how to do this, or the internet's not working, and they're very patient. They're always very kind, and I always tell them to treat the person on the other end of the line just like they were them and how they would want to be treated. So I would say that customer service is probably our number one mantra in keeping companies happy, and that has shown because most of our customers stay many years. Typically, we only lose customers when they go out of business or they're being bought by another company. But I get all sorts of rave reviews of customers who give us very high marks on our employees and their engagement.
Yeah, and I know you said it's simple, but that's something that goes so far and so kind of crazy that in so many different industries, customer service and being able to get back to people to be able to answer the phone. I love that mandate as well too. Goes so far because I think so many times people are looking for that. We talked about technology, but that human touch and to be able to just call and contact somebody, whether it be a client reaching out to you, or somebody that's having some issues with the learning management system and might be having technological issues, just somebody to talk to, that know that they can kind of get through that to get to what they ultimately want to be. So I think it's something that's huge, and it goes so far. So it's great that you do it, and obviously remind us how important it is as well too. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
Um, the biggest skill that I find is that, it's not really so much a hack as it is a practice of constantly learning by doing research. One of the things whenever I travel, certainly have my phone and all to do research, but I will go to the magazine rack before I get on a flight and buy some of the business magazines, because I just want to see what other industries are doing, what other technologies are out there, what are some of the pressing issues that other companies have, whether it's a high tech company that's just starting up or older, mainstay companies. That by being, aware of what the trends are, I can adapt. One of the areas, as I had mentioned, we're constantly creating content, training content. So we kind of need to know where those trends are, whether they be in safety and health or whether they be in human resources. So we want to know, whether that's, gender identity at a company, some of the things that have come up, whether, things that certainly in the past have, from HR perspectives, have changed, from harassment to violence in the workplace, all those type of things. But in safety and health, it's always changing as well. What are some of the concerns during the coronavirus pandemic? We created a number of courses that we basically provided free on how to keep your company safe, how to keep your employees safe, knowledge, all those type of things. So that's part of one of the things that I do, is just trying to stay on top of what's the leading forward trends going on in business. Um, I'm almost 60 years old now, so I'm trying to stay younger and up on what millennials and Gen Ys and X's are doing, and that's one way I can do it, is just constantly doing research, constantly reading, and just looking at seeing what other folks are doing in other industries around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say 60 years young, because when you have that kind of insatiable appetite and you're always kind of learning and always looking for more information, and understand that, things are always changing, but you could still continuing to kind of sharpen the saw, so to speak. I think, that's obviously shows in your business and how you've been able to evolve and change. But I think too, it's again, a great reminder for us to kind of continue to have and to quench that thirst, so to speak, because we can not only learn stuff for our business, within our business, but we can also learn from other industries, other businesses, on how we can implement things for ourselves, or potentially even for our clients as well. So I absolutely love that nugget. So now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget, and that could be a word of wisdom or a piece of advice, or if you hopped into a time machine, what might you tell your younger business self?
Well, I always tell, especially new employees, and I have interesting anecdotes of. I would tell my younger self, take more risks. I mean, when you're young is the only time that you can take risks. You don't know what you don't know. So as you get older, even though we all try not to, you become more conservative. It's just the nature of life. So you're more hesitant to go out on a limb, take a risk, invest in some new idea or whatever. Meet people that you normally wouldn't do. I mean, I have always struggled with being a little shy. And, I just remember when I was in my 20s when I first started out, going into a room of 100 people, and they were all older and more intimidating, and you had to go around and shake hands and do it. And your natural instinct is to kind of just stick to yourself and not get out there. But some of the best things that have ever happened to me have been by just going up and introducing myself and talking to people. And I tell my own kids, I have a son who's 28 and the daughter is 25. I said, go out and don't be shy. Go shake the hand of the CEO in the room. Go talk to him. He or she wants to develop and mentor younger people. That's what you do as you get older. That's what makes you feel like you have value, is to try and find younger employees who have talent, who you want to promote, who you want to mentor. And, that's important. Don't be intimidated, because they're there. The door is normally open. And it's always very tough to get that across to them, because, when you're younger, you just are more intimidated. But I guess that would be the biggest thing, is take risks. Obviously when you're younger, it's easier to bounce back than when you get older. And I would, a few stories. I went to a seminar, and the speaker was up there, and he was a pretty reputable person who, was older than me and all. But afterwards, I went and talked to him, and we got along great, and actually started doing business. And we did a series of training programs together, and each of us made over $1 million on it. So, one simple conversation, one follow-up can mean a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate you sharing that story. And that's obviously a great and huge reminder. And I think so many times we are living in our world and we forget about the other person's world, and how sometimes that CEO, that whoever, that we want to, connect with or shake hands or have a conversation with, wants to give, for one, and two, may have been given to themselves when they were in the exact same shoes. So they're encouraged to kind of, give back and try to mentor, somebody that might be younger or, thinking about getting into that industry. So definitely appreciate that nugget. And so now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on this show. So Martin, what does being a CEO mean to you?
Well, again, it's a cliche, but obviously to be a leader, most CEOs, obviously, if you're a Fortune 500 companies, you're very concentrated on stocks and, what the stock price is, and keeping the value of the company going. With us, with a smaller company, my role in a private company is obviously to make sure the business succeeds, but also to be a leader to the employees who, and I find that the greatest challenge is finding the qualities in employees, the talents that they have, and promoting that in them, even though they often don't even recognize it themselves. So is being able to put them in positions where they can, achieve success and value for the company. Also, the CEO's role is to, as I had said before, is to look for new opportunities, see where trends are going. Business is evolving daily. Again, I had mentioned the coronavirus pandemic, and that's going to be a game changer for so many different industries. And as we move forward, and you have to adapt. You have to look at where opportunities lie, take risks, and do research and development in areas, so that you don't all of a sudden wake up one day and find out that your business has been outdated and the competition has got one up on you. So again, that, even though that's not a simple short definition, that's what it means to me.
Yeah, no, I think it hit. I think it hit well as far as like the definition and perspective, because I think so many times leadership, we think of it maybe being just one thing, or just showing up, or just coming up with opportunities. But I think there's so much that's kind of under, I guess, the lens of what leadership can mean. And I think as you're talking about, the times that we're in as well too, there's going to be a lot of shifts and changes, and being able to be resilient, be able to see opportunities, be able to lead the team and help them to succeed so that the organization can succeed, are so important and integral to being a great leader. So I appreciate you giving that holistic kind of definition and perspective, and truly, appreciate your time even more. And what I wanted to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know, and of course, how best they can get a hold of you and find out about all the awesome things that you're working on.
Well, sure. Again, they can get hold of me at any time. We have a number of websites: MoxieMedia.com, MoxieLearning.com, MoxieTraining.com. We also have a sign division. We create signage to meet companies' regulatory requirements from maritime and oil and gas and any industry, oil and safety and health signs. So that's so. As far as other information that I would suggest that your readers do is, don't be afraid to travel the world. That was one of the things that I find is, look from an international perspective. Companies within the U.S. often become very U.S. centric, and it's a very big world now. And it's really hard to do business just in one market. You need to look at what the entire world's doing. So get out there, travel, see other different other countries, and look to see what other companies are doing around the world. Don't believe that just because we're in the US that we're doing it better or greater than somewhere else, because I can guarantee you there's somebody else on the planet who's doing what you're doing, or wanting to do it, and they may be able to give you greater insight and be able to provide you with a perspective that you would never have thought of otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will have the links and information in the show notes so that everybody can follow up with you. But I truly appreciate that reminder, because I think, as you said, in your nugget, that is so important, or your hack actually is so important, to be able to kind of continue to sharpen the saw. And you talked about magazines and things, but traveling as well too provides an entirely different view on the world. And a lot of times we can learn how maybe people are doing things differently. And in that way, we can learn how to implement things, here in the US or wherever we might be, and improve what it is that we're doing. But I think if we don't travel, if we don't get out of our comfort zone, figuratively and literally, jumping on a plane, that kind of resists our opportunity to be and continue to grow. So I truly appreciate that reminder, Martin, and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.